All right, what's up, guys? I'm here with my client, Liz Gleadle. Liz is a three-time Olympian for javelin, a good friend of mine too now. I feel like that's important to tell everybody because that's probably my favorite accolade of yours. But Liz has been a client of mine since the end of the summer, and I wanted to talk to her a bit about her experience working with me. Liz, how are you doing? And I'm curious if you could describe what the process of working with me and my team was like.
I'm good. It's a beautiful day, and had a nice little creative morning thinking about some things that I wanted to move forward on. And the process of working with you, I'd say, was one, you had a really great game plan, and two, every single time I was, that was just the blueprint, that was just the outline, and I felt like a lot of what we were doing got tailored to what I needed, and it was great to see what was to come, what we were moving towards, but at the same time, feeling like we could flow with it and we could create something that was not necessarily exactly what you'd planned, but something that we co-created together.
Yeah, and I think that was something that was really big for us was being able to adjust on the fly. Something I know I talk to a lot of clients about, especially if they're newer in business, they
Mhm.
can get really set on a certain idea or a certain game plan, and if it doesn't work, it can be frustrating. Can you talk about what those adjustments were like and what it was kind of like navigating the field of, okay, maybe this isn't what we want it to be, but how do we make it best for everybody?
Totally. So I think initially your big thing was you say, I make the course for you. I'll make your online course and you'll create it. And I realized that my course was enormous and that if I was making a smaller course, you could have done it. If it was just 1/5 of what I was trying to create, I think you could have done it. But realistically, it was huge. And so we switched over that responsibility to me creating the course. But you were really helping me line up all the other aspects of business. You were helping me flesh out, does this work well? How do we make this more efficient? How do we write the emails? That was my biggest point of pain was how do I market to people and not feel icky, or how do I get over the hump? And you never know what your biggest pain point is in business if you've never been in business. So it was really interesting to bring those things forward and then to realize, I'm actually really great at this. This is where I needed the help. And your ability to switch and to help me develop those skills in other areas was really, really great.
Yeah, I know and obviously this is the icing of the interview and the fun part of business that everybody wants to talk about. But you were able to secure a 6K pay in full deal 5 days after we adjusted the offer.
Mhm.
Excuse me, Jesus Christ. Which is, I'm gonna cut that. Which is obviously very exciting. Can you talk a little bit about what that was like to get that deal and maybe if that broke some limiting beliefs for you or if that showed you like, hey, this is possible?
Absolutely. I think for one, I was struggling with what kind of program do I create? Do I create something that is super available to a lot of people? And I was really struggling with the idea of having to manage a ton of clients at a certain level and at maybe, the $200 or the $300 client level. And then the idea of saying, no, I just want a couple of clients who are super high end clients who I can work deeply one on one with. And initially, I created this 3K offer, and it just didn't. It kind of still felt daunting to me. I thought, that's not enough for how much time I would like to invest in my client. And I remember when I was on the call with him, and I said, I thought, how much is this actually worth? And how much would make me feel really excited to work one on one with a person for this amount of time, for this many calls, to really guide them through? And it wasn't a greedy number. It was, I thought, no, this is about what my time is worth, and this is how it's going to be spread out. And when I did that, it was this really good feeling of when I said the number to him, he said, oh, I wasn't expecting it to be that much. But then I said, well, I charge for outcome, not for time. And he said, yeah, that makes sense. And he said, give me a second to think about it. And he just sat there for a second, looked up, and he said, yeah, let's do it. And it was that feeling of this is what it was worth to him to create for me. I create huge changes in people's lives athletically. I change their physical limiting beliefs. I give them a lot of joy within their workouts. I give them different perspectives for how to view their body. And to realize that someone else thought it was worth that, and that felt like a number they would happily pay after considering it for about 5 seconds, made me think this is the type of person I want to work with. I don't want to work with people who are on the edge about $300. I want someone who's excited to create massive change in their life within the next 6 months. And so that was really zooming in on my ideal client was such an exciting thing to work on.
Yeah, yeah, and it's such a huge step for you to actually have said that number. Because if he was like, "Oh, that's a little bit high," you could have always brought it down or like thrown something in extra or whatever, you know what I mean? But like, I think a lot of people struggle to ask for high numbers because they don't want to piss people off.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for you especially, it's really tangible to trace back of like, hey, this is like 20 years of athletic training. Like this is like literally three times performing on the biggest stage humans can possibly perform on.
Mm-hmm. Writing my own program, studying my own nutrition, doing my own
Yeah.
mental programs, actually applying it, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't work. The amount of time I save people is enormous.
Yes, like it's not like, oh, this is just packaged from like the coaches I've had over the years and like I never looked into it any further. Like, I don't know, they got me to the Olympics, man. Like, what else do you want me to say? No, no, like you literally threw yourself into the fire and created this, you know, fucking around and finding out. And so, yeah, don't charge $300. Like I'm glad that you have the courage to be
Yeah.
like, hey, this is the outcome that I'm creating. And like you stood by that positioning, you stood by that authority, and it paid off. Like I
Yeah.
know we talked about over the last couple of months, even off air,
Mm-hmm.
you didn't get as many signups as you possibly could have, but it was more so about the alignment of the course, the direction in which you're taking your business, and how do you find people who are fully fuck yes on the journey before accelerating and signing up as many people as possible.
But also, the biggest thing for me was realizing how I wanted to be in business. Because I think we get anxiety when we think about all the ways that we could make money or the ways we could interact with other people, exchange energy with other people. And I think that's what was really throwing me off was that I didn't actually realize how I enjoyed working with others because I never worked with others. I was an athlete. I was always working with me. And it brings me joy to write this super in-depth email back and forth with my client because I feel like I'm giving him so much. And I'm not just giving him what's in my course, I'm giving him specific ideas for what he's doing. And that's where I thrive is when someone gives me a problem and I say, I have a solution for this. This is my area of expertise. I know which levers to pull.
Awesome, awesome. Can you describe, in terms of working with me, did you feel like I was there for your needs? Did you feel like I had the requisite knowledge to get you to where you wanted to go? Did you feel like it was easy? Like I just one-to-one our relationship, if you could describe that, would be great.
Yeah, it was easy. You sacrifice sleep for your clients. Which is
I
not the
do.
best thing for you, but it shows your commitment to what you want to do at the same time. And I think it was also really neat to see you. Um, I think start to envision different boundaries for your work, but at the same time saying, how do I still deliver in a really big way? And I thought that was really admirable and really great energy to work with. And yeah, I think whenever I had a question, you were always, or I was saying, I think we need to wiggle this so that it works better. You were always happy to wiggle. And I think that whenever you're working with someone who's equally committed to growth and understanding something in its full breadth and depth, then you don't have to worry about sticking to a script. You can actually dive into how do you want to show up in business? And this person's going to help me. So it was really, really nice that way to say, okay, I'm interested in this. And you'll be like, read this book, look at this thing, check out this Instagram. We're going to do this instead. Try this. And it was always this back and forth of iteration.
Yeah, and I have the Aura ring screenshots to show how terrible my sleep is, if anybody's curious.
Yeah. Uh,
Holy shit. One second.
it's all good. Let's just edit it out. You poor thing, man.
Exactly. Oh, it was 10 times worse on Monday. Like it was so bad.
Yeah, you did not look good.
Pardon?
You did not look good.
No, yeah, I was in such awful shape. Like I had to pound like Tylenol extra strength. I really don't like taking drugs like that, but I had to. I was like, I can't function right now. I need something.
Yeah.
I'll take a fucking Percocet if I have to.
You need to get onto some natural stuff.
Yeah, no, I
You need,
definitely do.
you need to get on the methylene blue train.
Please, I gladly will. I'll get a plug. Um,
Uh,
yes, this will be the last question here.
okay.
If you could talk to somebody who was considering working with me and my team and they were on the fence, what would you tell them?
Um, that's such a big, loose question. I'd say that you'd have to be prepared with you. It is a not a crash course, but be prepared to work very hard for 3 months and be in a place where your ducks are in a row. And if you feel like you are ready to dive in and to seriously change stuff very quickly, this is the place to be. If you feel scattered or you feel like you don't have enough time in your schedule and this is something that you're just kind of fitting in on the side, don't do it because Nick is here to push you and he's here to get you on track and he's here to make things happen lickety split. So I'd say if you're ready to dive in, if you're ready to fully commit to it, that's the kind of client I think you really enjoy and I think that you want to give your all to. I mean, I was working crazy hours relative to what I am used to
Hmm.
and it pushed me, but at the same time if I hadn't done that, I wouldn't have known what was possible.
Hmm.
So I'd say you got to be ready to commit to it.
Yeah. No, awesome. I really appreciate it, Liz. And you're correct. The kind of people that we work with, we want them to be serious about getting results for themselves.
Yeah.
And we want to be able to drive results no matter what that looks like, right? With some clients, they're like, hey, I need calls in the calendar. Like, I don't care how it happens. It doesn't
Mhm.
matter to me. Like, that's what I need. Okay, cool. Let's,
Totally.
okay, cool. Like, let's fire count calls in your calendar. I can do that. If it's like,
Mhm.
hey, I need to adjust things and kind of gauge where I'm at. Okay, that's totally cool as well, as long as somebody's serious. So,
Mhm.
Liz, thank you so much. I really appreciate this. Anybody who's watching this, if you haven't already, please subscribe. And if you're watching this through the landing page, I see you. The Calendly link is down below, so you should click that and book in a call if you want to talk or if you like money. Either one works. I'm cool with both intentions. But yeah, this was great, Liz. Thank you so much, and peace, everybody.